Live stream, got it. I think we are live. So should we begin? All right. Hi, everyone. Yes, we are live. All right. My name is Sergine. I'm an alumni at Imagine This, and it's just such an honor and a treat to be here. It was a treat to watch all of your wonderful movies last night, and I just can't wait to pick your brains. Before we start with the questions, I'm gonna ask for you guys to introduce yourselves. So I'm in Los Angeles, so tell us where you are in the world and tell us a little bit about your film, and then we'll get started with the Q&A. So should we start with Ruhi?
Hi, so I live in New York City in Queens. I am the director, writer, and editor of Jane, which is a short film that got into Imagine This, very thrilled about it. And it's a short film about two friends who lost touch and reconnect randomly at a grocery store.
Biz, thank you.
Hi, I'm Biz Jones. I am in Brooklyn, New York. My short film was Lake Pluto. It's a story about a overburdened millennial who goes to the woods to kind of clear her mind. And while she's out there, she meets her doppelganger. So it's a sci-fi thriller.
Thank you, Marlene.
Yeah, so I'm in Toronto and my film is called Pedi. And it's about a refugee from Laos who is a professional boxer, and he sustains a concussion. And because families from Laos look after one another, his big sister gives him a job working in her nail salon.
Thank you. So I don't know if you guys got to show your film in front of an audience, if you got to experience that already. I would like to start with asking you, Ruhi, what did you get to experience seeing the film, and were there any surprising reactions, or what did anything from the reaction surprise you? Sometimes we're hoping for certain things to land and we're surprised by something else. And were there strange or interesting questions you got so far?
Yeah, I was very lucky and fortunate to have it screened in front of an audience on Sunday. And I think I was so much in my head. I was really like, I haven't had a chance to see anything that I made on the screen that huge. So it was a very like internal experience. I was kind of mortified because everything, everything I was like, oh, I could have done this. I was kind of having like an inner dialogue of, little mistakes or things that I was seeing. But in the room itself, I feel there wasn't anything, there were no boos, thankfully, or any things that stood out per se. I think I just kind of felt it like way over everyone, and everyone was watching it together. So having that experience felt really special. And the Q&A was also really great to just kind of talk about it, and also to hear the other filmmakers and how that block, as all the blocks were curated, I felt like with this really keen eye with subject matter. So it just felt really nice to see how my short kind of, went in with the others, and how there was something connected through all of them. So that's kind of what I took out from it.
Is there something surprising about how certain people connect with it that you didn't expect?
Our Q&A was kind of short, so there wasn't any feedback in that realm from it. I think it's been a year now since I've made it, more than a year, and watched it. So I definitely felt that distance of looking at it now with like a different eye. But no, nothing surprising.
Thank you. Biz, so I have so many questions about your film, but I'm gonna start with one. So so obviously it's the one actress playing the two parts. So how did you approach preparing and rehearsals? What was your approach for working with the actress?
Yeah, I mean, that was a really fun experience. We definitely, it was a challenge, but I think that's what drew her to the role, is to be able to play two different characters, and one where they are sort of the same person, but also another person at the same time. So I think really she's the one who like took it and made it her own. I did a lot of rehearsals with her one-on-one, with me reading against her. And I think, you know, it was the rehearsals where we sort of like really found what is the tone that she's going to use for each character, how is it going to differ between, and also, you know, she wanted to see how the like other person that she's kind of supposed to be was playing her own role, like in a different timeline. It's a little confusing if you haven't seen it, but yeah, I really have to credit the actress for working with me to like make that her own, and definitely a fun challenge.
Thank you. Thank you. Marlene, so the first question I have for you, I'm very interested. I know you're also a teacher. I'm an acting teacher as well. And I'm very curious to hear from you. Is there a different, like post-pandemic, is there a difference that you feel as an educator? And do you have any words of wisdom for other educators?
Oh my goodness, I love it. So I get to say that I teach at the University of Toronto, and my area is actually the intersection between stories and medical health challenges. So I'm a literature person who works with clinicians and researchers. So I think what's happened, and this is the best thing, is that we're all really compassionate about mental health challenges. And my films are about head trauma. Often they're about memory loss, and just, I work in disability studies. So I think we were so rocked across over the world, and we missed each other. And even now, you know, we're using Zoom. So we know what it means, I think, to be in contact with people. And I think in my university, and I think in a lot of people's relationships in that space, there's a lot of support and compassion, and we don't take that support and compassion for granted. So I've said to the people I work with, if you get it in, that's great. I'm not going to sit on late penalties. I think people just have, the people I work with have adjusted their priorities, and students really are really grateful for that. So yeah, and I think the message in my film about being supported and cared for by family members and finding a new way to be in a world really speaks to what we went through, because the world has really changed, and we can't just pick up. And many of us left places where we realized we didn't want to live and moved elsewhere, moved out to the country. People dropped jobs that were soul destroying. So I think there was a lot of transformation in families and in individuals. And I think that's, you know, I think our work speak to that kind of, that need for transformation, and also support through transformation.
Thank you. And I have another quick question about, so you chose so your movie is bilingual, and would you like to talk a little bit about that choice?
For sure. Yeah, thank you.
Language.
Yeah, so I'm working on a story adapted from an actual story by a Lao Canadian writer, Suvankam Thamavongsa. And it's the first time that Lao refugees have really been represented on film. So I worked for a couple of years doing research and worked with like the community, Lao Canadian community. They workshopped the screenplay at various stages, and it was so important that it reflect them and their culture. And also, it was hugely important to hear the language. So we hired several dialect coaches to work with the lead actors. And there was also, because this was the first time in their community, they'd seen each other and taken up space, globally. Like, it was so exciting. So they did a behind the scenes, a fellow, Chen Kamfumi, did a behind the scenes documentary. So he said to me, how would you feel if someone portrayed your community and had them speak a different language or turned them into Vietnamese, and just twisted it all to fit a director's needs? And I said, I'd be devastated and I will never do that to you. So that was really ethical relationships with the community, whose stories that you're telling. That was essential to me, because I have no right to take someone else's story. I really felt that I was translating a story and being a medium.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go back to Ruhi. And you guys, if you have questions for each other, please go ahead. Ruhi, and I think it's interesting because all of the three movies, there's a lot about siblings and sisterhood reuniting with Ruhi. I'm interested in talking about, I would like to hear from you. So the two friends, when they get, and I don't know if they're supposed to say spoiler alert. I know that we are on YouTube, so I'm not going to give it away too much, but was there something about representation and about the fact that when they see each other again, one of them is kind of shocked or not? There's something about, there's a difficulty to connect, but yet they get to say goodbye. So I would like to hear from you. What was your approach on that, and how would you like your message to come across? Oh, unmute yourself, please, Ruhi.
Sorry. I was just saying thank you for that question. So I was, very nervous about, the subject matter at first, and then, what am I trying to say as a cisgendered woman? Because that's not my lived experience. And that's why when you see the short, it's about the other friend and her trying her best but really fumbling, and it's an experience that is somewhat personal. I have a very good friend of mine, without giving up too much away, who went through a certain change in their life, and we stayed friends throughout. And I was I was trying to think of, in scenarios like that, we'd like to think we're the bigger person or a really good ally, but what would that look like? And I think that's where the short kind of came from, because there were points where in my personal life with this friend I've had where we lost touch, kind of came back. There were things with friendships, and so that was kind of the starting point of two people meeting after years, and not really having that ease to ask each other things about one another directly, but kind of skirting around, trying to figure out things. And my hope is, the takeaway is our main character, Jane. They're both, like, it's about both of them, but that I really hope it comes across that we see her as like this confident person who's very assured and happy with her life and her choices. And I think after watching it a lot of times, and the edit and kind of working with the actors, was that sense of, she's not here to convince anyone of how she is or how she's doing. She's kind of just there, to be there for Lola in this moment. And Lola's kind of the insecure one, trying to get something out of this, or, get some closure. So I hope that comes through. I was very nervous about that. Something I'm still nervous about, but I hope it comes off the right way. But absolutely, I understand anyone can take it any way they see it. But I definitely wanted to explore, the intricacies of what it means to be an ally, and how you know, a lot of people fail and might have best intentions, but try, and how the other person might feel, kind of hearing that and taking it on the chin a lot of the times, and how that's also a lot of hard work for them to always, you know, come across a certain way. So a lot of things, but that's the goal, I hope, at the end of that we see these two people trying to get some sort of closure after so many years, and that the character who has gone through a change comes off, you know, very much self-assured and happy.
Thank you so much. Okay, I want to go back. I have one more question, but we'll see if we have time because I want to go to this. Okay, my God, how did you the cinematography, the lake, the autumn leaves, everything? Yeah, how'd you do it, man?
Yeah, I mean, that was a real challenge, and I really wanted to get that sort of sense of nature and how vast it was and how small like a woman can be and all that nature. So I did take my crew to like the backwoods of Catskills. We hiked out. We went all the way out there. It was rough, but like definitely worth it to get all those like beautiful shots. And then we had like pickup shots in, you know, other locations that weren't quite so backwoods. We had some places that were like in Westchester. We even did a little bit in Queens, in like Queens Forest Park. Miraculously, it all comes together and it doesn't feel like it's different places because there actually was more than one lake that we shot at. But then there was like one final challenge is like after we had done the whole film, I wanted a few more pickup shots, and we just had to wait until it wasn't winter anymore so we could have a little bit of leaves and stuff to kind of cut that together, because the dead of winter definitely felt different than all this lush autumn feel that we had. So yeah, I mean, I love shooting in nature, but it's definitely has its drawbacks.
And you're the DP also on that.
I'm not the DP. I was just the writer and director. So I have a great DP who was working with me on that one. Yeah.
Awesome. And how was the collaboration with the DP?
That was really great. You know, she and I had worked together on a few creative and commercial projects. So we've been working together a lot. And I really trust her judgment to like, when I say, this is what I see and what I want. And then she might be like, okay, well, what if we just, you know, go this way or turn the camera that way kind of thing. And she has a beautiful eye for, you know, framing and all that sort of stuff. So we definitely collaborate a lot on getting the shots. And then like, we do have so much like pickup shots that are even just nature. Oh, except for the drone stuff, that was me. Yeah, I went out hiking quite a few times to like get those drone shots. So yeah, it was really a big collaboration.
Yes, those shots. I was like, oh my God, you know, as a filmmaker, when you start watching and you go, oh, okay, now there's a drone.
Yeah,
that was great. It was great. And the strong theme of sisterhood, where does it come from for you?
I mean, okay, I don't have any sisters, but I do feel very tied to like friends, and those personal connections are sort of what pull me back to not being inside of myself and what tether me down. And so that was sort of the theme that I wanted to use, is like, what is each character's tether? And really the two sets of characters have a lot of parallels to what would bring them back home. And yeah, that was what I was kind of exploring, and how, you know, you don't know who is the hero anymore by the end of the shot, like at the end of the film. I mean, like, who are you rooting for? What is the ethical thing there? Who do you want to win?
That's cool.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to hear one last question from all of you. What's the big lesson? Because I know a lot of young filmmakers or aspiring filmmakers are going to be watching this. So is there any big lesson that you've learned making this film? Any words of wisdom, or what's the big lesson in general on your journey as a as a filmmaker? Ruhi, you want to start?
Yeah. So, I used to hear this a lot, and it would be very frustrating when you were making a short film and they're like, keep it in one location, keep it contained. But mine was in one location in a grocery store. It was contained. And because of that, which is budgeting and time, I shot it in one day. And we got everything we needed. And that was kind of the first time I had tried to make something really self-contained. And right after that, I made another short, which was like 5 different locations. And I was like, why did I do this to myself? I kind of missed having that. So I do think that's good advice. It is very tough. The story has to serve it for sure. And then another lesson, I think with each short film, you grow as a director, your taste evolves, the way you want to tell something, your vision gets better. So just keep making things, just keep making them. And one thing I would hear is like, go make anything on your phone. And again, a lot of these things sound really simple and can be frustrating, but if you want to make I would say the opposite. If you want to make your project a certain way and you have a vision for it, go and do it on that grand scale that would fit the story, and just believe in yourself. Keep making things constantly.
Thank you. Marlene.
I think from this particular film, I learned that things, and I worry about the word wrong, but things will kind of go sideways. And I was addicted to a certain kind of vision of, so one point I had my actor and he was supposed to pull a blind and do something. And it's so simple. And there was various things that, because there were problems with the actual material world, the blind didn't work, so, I'm sitting there, but I've got this beautiful image of the blind. So I would say, have your choreographed vision, have your props and everything, but know the essence of every scene and what's really has to happen. And don't get caught up or have a foot in both. Have all the beautiful details that you want that actor, but be ready to pivot and give way. Because, it's funny, Viz was saying, hey, what happens if, there's slush on the ground? And it's just like you're playing 4-dimensional chess and something. So leave and trust that things will be creative. So I'm a bit of a control freak. So it was really challenging for me. I had sort of a mini meltdown, and it's like, but oh, I know. The other thing was the phone wasn't perfectly programmed on set, and it, was supposed to ring with this kind of, and I was like, oh my God. And then, filming is so expensive. It's like, you cannot dial God, you have to direct. So be flexible, have your plan, and just know what the essence of every scene is.
Thank you. Biz.
Yeah, same thing. Pretty much be prepared for disaster because something's gonna happen. And then it's your job to pivot and also kind of keep everyone else on set like calm, and like if you freak out, then everyone else kind of, it waves out. And so you have to be good at pivoting, and if you're paying for things, know it's going to cost more than you planned, it's going to take more time than you planned. Definitely learn that. And like all the locations, obviously, like less locations is better. And also, like, I absolutely love the night scenes that we shot, but maybe I won't write something at night anymore, at least unless we can simulate it, because shooting through the night is tough, and lighting at night is tough. And there's just like, we were out in the woods, so there was also like coyotes and raccoons and like just like all of nature around us. But those were, I knew to expect those, but like how much things could go sideways is like always more than you could expect. So yeah, in terms of filmmaking, that's a big one. And then I think I also really learned, and I had heard this before, but like it becomes even more apparent when you're like editing, that like cut down on dialogue, just cut it down and down and down and down, because show more, say less.
Thank you. And before we leave, if you guys would like to share, if anyone hasn't seen your film, how can they see it? How can they find you? Do you have a website, your social media? So maybe we can start with Biz.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we're going to be, you can watch the film in this festival. We're going to be in a few upcoming festivals as well. So you could find info about that on our Instagram. It's Lake Pluto Film.
Thank you, Marlene.
Yeah, I also have a website, and it's just marlenegoldman.com or CA. I can't remember if it's Canadian or com, but you'll find me. And I am also, if you have questions or you're in Canada and you're thinking about, how to work as a filmmaker, I'm also open to, just hearing from you as well, because I'm a teacher. So anything I can share, it really matters to me. And also being part of this group was just fantastic. I'm making notes. So yeah, I've got a website, and if you want to see the film, it's in the festival circuit. So hopefully you'll catch it at this festival. And then I put my films up on my website, so you can see it once the festival circuit's done, because I work right now in the gift economy. So everything is shareable.
Thank you. Ruhi.
So my short is on a short film platform as well, called Retrospective of Jupiter. So it's on there. You can also watch it during the virtual segment of Imagine This. And then I have that linked in my social media on Instagram, which is just my name, Ruhi Radke.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. It was such a pleasure meeting you. And I think I stalked you all on social media. So hopefully we'll be in touch. It was a pleasure.
It was really great. Thank you so much. Great question. Right. And may the film goddess be good to everyone.